All right, what's going on, family? Welcome to the My Life God's Way podcast. Back again with another episode. Tonight's topic will be: Is tradition killing the church? I am
Deep
your
already.
I am your host, DeAndre Thomas, alongside with my friend Keith Williams. Once again, I kind of keep him on here for his experience with working with different ministries, some traditional, some contemporary, some actually both, and we'll elaborate on both in a second. But what I want you to do, if you can share this stream. We are on YouTube and Facebook, so please share this stream. Let me know in the comment section how's the audio quality, if you can hear me clearly. We're not gonna prolong the time, but I am gonna get straight into it. Is tradition killing the church? My personal observation, being a 30-year-old man, I'll be 31 this year, just my experience and seeing various ministries that have kind of taken heed to what's going on. And I feel like there is a move of God that's going on that a lot of ministries will miss because being stuck in tradition. Mm-hmm. Now, what is tradition? Tradition is just the same old 369. This is how we do it. We really don't know no other way to do it. If opportunities and new possibilities and resources are presented to do it, it's still not done because it's not comfortable. It's not a comfortable place to do it. And I feel at times, a lot of times it's thrown on membership of, if we make certain changes, the membership will kind of be in disarray in people. And a lot of times I don't feel like that. I feel like it's a cop out for leadership of all different fashions that are afraid to change because they don't know if it's going to etch them out, if they're not going to be as needed, or if their position is going to become one that's going to be vacant. A lot of times people will sit and occupy a position.
Fired,
fired,
but still got the job.
Right, based off of, a need. I mean, I know some people I work with right now and some supervisors that they should have been gone. But because they sit in a position of authority and they've been in that position for so long, they wouldn't know what to do seeing somebody else in their position actually probably doing a better job than them. Mm-hmm. But
new ideas,
fresh, but just speaking
moving
about
forward into the future.
Right. But just speaking about the church, I feel like it's imperative in this generation. It's imperative that we actually focus on necessary changes, because if we don't, a lot of churches will become obsolete in this season.
Absolutely.
Very obsolete. And what does that mean? Obsolete. No more.
Guess what? Y'all just ready to walk back in the doors, have church as usual, with one person coming with y'all because y'all think the pandemic is over.
I mean,
y'all ready for Corona to be gone so we can go back to church in the building, the four walls, and just what we doing.
Right. I mean, and the crazy part, we still going through the pandemic.
It ain't over.
I tell a lot of people, the reason why this country opened back up is money.
Absolutely.
Money. It isn't because the vaccine is out. No, because people were in disarray because they cannot work. People don't want to depend on stimulus checks.
Well, at the same time, stimulus check takes so long to take effect.
Right.
That bills still do pile up.
Right.
And so that stimulus check that you got ain't going to carry you over to.
Right.
So.
Right. I see you, D. Shout out to Deneen. She's watching tonight. This, I feel like, and please, I want you all to comment in the comment section, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. Throw us some questions. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. But tonight we're talking about traditions in the church.
Make sure you do what?
Oh yeah, you make sure you please like, share, and subscribe.
You can donate too.
Right. This man, he always gets on me about that. I will put the Cash App up later on, but and I am signing up for Patreon so that we can build a better platform so people can get more in-depth information about what this actual platform means to me. What is its purpose? You know, I feel like for me, this platform is just that. It's a platform for open dialogue. Okay. I don't want to be the only person week after week just with my viewpoint, because somebody else may share some with me and be like, you know what, have you thought about this? And I feel like that's the same thing when it comes to ministry.
Absolutely.
That's why we go to church, and that's why we worship together.
Absolutely.
Because what may not work for some
work for others.
May work for others. Mm-hmm. But you will never know if you don't come together. And I mean, speaking back to going back to tradition, we don't want to get too far.
Let's dive in, y'all. Let's dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in. Let me ask you something, Keith. You know, you've worked with many of different pastors and ministries. Just your take. Do you feel like tradition, and when I say tradition, doing the same 369, some things that we used to do 10 years ago and 15 years ago, do you feel like continuing to do those things when you don't see a result is a benefit to the ministry?
Absolutely not.
Why would you say that?
And the reason why it isn't a benefit is because if you've done it 10 years ago, mm-hmm. right? And let's say that was what, 1999, whatever, right? Let's say 1999 you did something.
Did you say 1999?
Yeah, what? Yeah. I know. I went in 2021. I know the date, y'all. I know. All right. I'm just trying to.
Man, don't you dare go back that far.
I'm just
talking
trying to.
About 10 years ago.
I'm just trying to. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to think I'm talking about them in particular. So.
No, I mean, you know, this platform, we're not targeting anyone. We're never going to target anyone. Now, I will say this, that there are times where some things arise during the week that I may hear or see that may enlighten me to talk about it on this platform. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
It's about open dialogue, talking about various experiences that I've come across, you've come across, people in the comment section. Eventually I'm going to open up to where people are actually going to be able to call in, and I'll have radio callers, so you can actually talk to me live on air and just kind of present your argument, essentially. You know, I feel like in order for us to get to a place that we need to be, there has to be hard conversations had.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times those hard conversations don't want to be had because most people who don't want to have those conversations already know, to be truthful, the solution behind the conversation. But the solution won't involve them continuing with what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're going to have to change. Mm-hmm. And most people don't want to have that because change is a scary thing, especially, and I use this term loosely, in the black church. And I don't want to say the black church because I feel like, to me, all churches should be, church should just be church.
For sure.
It shouldn't be a black church, a white church, Asian church.
No. It's
crazy because back when I was, I think 18 or 19.
Did you tell me don't go back that far?
Back when I was about 18 or 19, I was actually a member of another church, not my home church.
Okay.
For about 2 or 3 years. And it just, being there, it completely just blew my mind.
Okay. In a good way?
In an amazing way.
Okay.
And it's crazy because
open the possibilities.
Oh yeah, I really believe if it had not been for that experience that I went through leading me to that ministry, I would not be the individual that I am today. And when I say the individual that I am today, I'm very vocal about positive and necessary change in ministry. If anybody knows me, I'm not just going to do what you tell me to do just because you say do it.
Okay. Shout out to that church, unnamed church. Shout out. We shouting that out.
Oh, that I used to go to? Oh, no. The church that when I was 19, I was going to one church.
Oh, so shout out?
Yeah, no. I mean, amazing. Actually, the pastor is Pastor Touré.
Move Forward Church, a church that's...
Yeah, I mean, but see, Pastor Touré he's that guy. He's definitely a forward-thinking person. Mm-hmm. And that's why even in the short amount of time that this church has been in existence, it has catapulted in membership.
Okay.
Because people love to be a part of something that's going forward. Somewhere.
Right.
And many times when you look at congregations or even businesses. People leave businesses because they don't see a future with the company.
Mm.
The same thing with the ministry. A lot of times people will leave a church because they don't see a future there no more. And we cannot say, oh, this church is just not for them. No, we're not taking the necessary steps to make sure that we're
Doing our part.
Mm-hmm. Because see, in ministry, everybody has a part to play.
We do. Absolutely.
Everybody has a part to play from the top to the bottom. Now, sometimes because of dysfunctions, it's hard for all the bodies to click.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be from a numerous
tradition.
Things. Tradition.
Mm-hmm.
I said it a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes it's bad leadership. Sometimes it's bad fellowship.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But I do know in this season, we have to make sure that we take heed to what's going on. Let's not focus on things that really have no substance.
Ooh, that's a good. It just clicked in my head. This should be another topic. In this season, can you blame the fellowship that the church is not progressing?
I mean, that's definitely something we could talk about.
Ooh.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you what's so crazy. I have a couple. I have a couple friends that are young pastors. Actually, an older gentleman that's a pastor that I'm going to bring on this platform. I got a friend that's middle-aged. He's a assistant pastor at the church. So all these individuals I want to actually bring and get their intake, because it's one thing to see things from this perspective, but I also want to get their viewpoint from their perspective.
Okay.
But speaking about tradition, when I went to this ministry, I saw something I had never seen before.
Okay.
And I'm talking about when I was a member of one church when I was 19.
You gotta elaborate.
I'm very, very much gonna elaborate. So when I went to this church, in one setting, I saw 700 individuals, literally from the age
young,
of
old.
I'm gonna explain. 700 at least from the age of roughly 16, 17.
Okay.
Which is hard to get in church on a Wednesday night.
Ooh.
On a Wednesday night. 16,
now, y'all,
17,
I'm a witness. I have been to the church, so.
Yeah, 16, 17.
Okay.
All the way up to 35, 40. Don't get me wrong. There were plenty of seniors that went to that ministry.
For sure.
Because just because you are an elder don't mean you want to be a part of something that is old school, quote unquote. That's what we call it. We call it old school.
We call it old school.
Old school church.
But we can say that's not moving. That's not.
It's tradition.
It's tradition.
They don't
want to come out of the ways that they were
right. We see
brought up with, or
right.
that their forefathers taught them, or that they think the church is supposed to be.
Right, definitely. And I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. When I saw those up to 700 plus teenagers and young adults in this ministry, I asked myself, the first time I went, I said, why is it so many young adults here on a Wednesday night? The service started at, I think, about 7 or 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there going, how and why is all these people here on a Wednesday between 7 and 8 o'clock for a midweek service?
So if we take away you being a minister,
okay,
right? If we just add just
me as a servant,
just you as a servant, just you as
vessel.
DeAndre, what was the reason why you were there on a Wednesday night at 7?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. What actually brought me there, what brought me there was somebody invited me.
Okay.
A friend of mine's invited me. She said, you know what? She said, I've been going to this church for a couple years now. And she said, I really think you'll like it. Now, at this time, I hadn't been going to church for a couple months. But she said, I really think you'll like it. I said, okay, let me pray about it. Right. That's it's actually my friend Ricky. He's actually a pastor.
Hey, Pastor Ricky. The Passion for Christ.
He said the Passion for Christ. You're absolutely right. And I'm gonna tell you what's so amazing about when I went there. So just to cut across the field, as we say in church, Wednesday night, 7, 8 o'clock, I saw 600-700 young people in a service. And when I went to this church, when the worship team started to sing, there was such a purity in their voices. Now that does not mean they weren't, doing stuff during the week, because nobody's perfect.
Right.
So you can, read your Bible 24/7, and
You still sinning.
you're still gonna sin, because
sure.
God's grace is what sustains us and what keeps us catapulting to want to do better and to
God's
be
grace
better.
is sufficient.
Oh, it's definitely sufficient, because I know I've sinned and come short. I know, but
Far short of the glory.
oh my God. But when I heard this worship team, when I heard them open their mouth, I saw such a sincerity to me in their heart of worship. I mean, literally, for me, I was sitting next to an Asian guy, and which was another thing I wasn't used to. I mean, I grew up in a predominantly African American church. So me now being a member of,
Got like 4 conversation that just happened right here.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Let's just
But yeah, me being, now being a part of this church and seeing other races, it was just so fascinating to hear this worship team, and they was singing, and I never forget the worship leader, he was singing, "He's able." When I tell you this song ministered, people start crying. One lady was crying on the other side of the church, and another person was, she was shouting. The pastor got up there, and when I tell you, he did not hoop. He did not hoop.
no hooping in the black church.
This was the multicultural church, but he was an African American pastor.
No hooping?
No, he did not hoop. When I tell you, he
wasn't having an asthma attack?
No, he laid out. You crazy? He laid out 7 effective points.
Okay.
About how
long was the service?
The service was about an hour and a half on a Wednesday night.
Okay.
And these people were flocking there by the drones. And when I heard the worship, and then I listened to this message that was being preached, I said, I see why. It wasn't a whole lot of nothing else. It was simply the worship. The worship. Laugh my butt off, Ricky. The worship was simply just pure, and it was straight to the point. They did worship. Somebody came up and greeted everyone. They did a couple of video announcements. Pastor got up there and preached. They did altar call. We went home.
How long was the video announcement?
3 or 4 minutes max.
What? It wasn't 15 minutes?
No, it was 3. It was very, very straight to the point, because what you really emphasized on was welcoming the people to the ministry.
Okay.
They you let the people know that were guests, who the pastor and the first lady was.
Okay.
And then what was happening that week. And you sat down.
Oh.
Or the video was over.
Oh.
But what I saw
it wasn't stuff from two
No,
months come in?
No, definitely not. What I saw there, I saw a ministry that focused on, we have young people.
Yeah, I'm just clowning though.
I know you're clowning. We have to make sure that with these young people, we have to keep their minds. Because one thing about this young generation now, even some older people, attention spans are beyond short. A lot of times we talk about kids, but even adults have a hard time being in ministry. And if when they're there, if it's not gravitating towards them, if it's not holding their attention, you're gonna lose them.
Absolutely.
And I've said it time and time again.
They say the first 5 minutes, if you don't grab the attention of the people, you have lost them.
Oh, I can believe
the
that.
entire time.
Oh, I can believe that. I can believe that. And I've said it time and time again to the individuals that, I go to church with. And it's funny because growing up, we used to say the saying from our former pastor, who is passed away now. But he used to say, stand up to be seen, speak up to be heard, and sit down to be appreciated.
That's good.
It's real good.
Say it again.
Stand up to be seen, speak up to be heard, and sit down to be appreciated.
Okay.
Now, that statement in itself is true in itself. When you get up there, make sure that what you do, you're doing it to the purest intent, and you do it to the glory of God.
I'm not getting up there to show out.
No. And that's the thing. I feel like even with modern day worship, I don't feel like individuals are doing it for show. But you have people that say, well, modern day worship is all a show, and and how they dress is a show and blah, 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 blah. And I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe just because an individual will probably dance, and probably not even to the magnitude that David danced.
Okay.
Because if I'm not mistaken, but David did dance
Out of his clothes.
out of his clothes.
Did.
But see, if
That's what the
something,
Bible
like,
say.
if something like that was happening today, people would be,
DeAndre, that's an old school.
oh yeah,
statement.
Pastor Ricky, he on here today. You be Pastor Pharaoh on here today. It is a very much old school statement, but I don't believe that just because you are a young individual and you wear ripped jeans and that you wear hats and beanies and stuff like that, I don't believe your heart is in the wrong place coming to church.
So
Because
wait.
let me tell you
so
something.
Let's go deep real quick.
But see, tradition, hold on. Tradition would tell you that all those things aren't approved coming into the house of God.
Oh, that's what we about to go there. So you're telling me that I should or shouldn't be able to wear a hat in church?
I don't see the problem with it. And I'm not saying I'm a Bible scholar,
Okay.
but I have yet to read it in the word. I'm not talking about what your mama said, what your daddy said, what your grandma said.
Okay.
I'm talking about the word.
Okay. So I can't. Can I come to church with jeans ripped on?
Well, I don't see what the problem is. As long as the key element that we must focus on in ministry is that where is the person's heart? See, my thing is this:
Am I in the building?
a person's heart is in the building, because if they didn't want to be there, they would not have came.
Okay. So you're saying
Okay.
that I don't have to come to church with a shirt, tie, jacket, buttoned up all the way to the top,
Right.
choking me,
Not choking you.
shoes on, perfect type of shoes. I don't have to come to church like that. Suspenders, belt.
I don't feel like you have to. But see, it's not about how I feel. It's about God.
This is true.
And the Bible says to come as you are.
Okay.
Now, I
So
know
if you-
know in church we
I-
use that term loosely.
We do.
But I truly believe that God is more concerned with your soul more than what you have on.
I agree. Because what if I don't have them clothes that you're telling me I need to come to your church in?
I'm telling you to come. I mean,
So you saying I can come to your church like that?
Bro, I'm telling you, when I was going to one, bro, it didn't matter. It didn't matter. The pastor just got up there, he preached the word. Now, if it convicted someone on teaching the word, now something that their opinion and something their mama and daddy has taught them, and they got it from somebody that didn't get it from anywhere, but somebody else that didn't get it out the Bible, then come.
Okay. So my opinion is the same. I'm just being.
No, I know. I know.
I agree that because see in this day and time, young people
Okay.
are not going to go and buy a suit and tie. They don't. That's not
No.
how they dress.
No. Now
So,
some do. Now,
Some do, but not all.
some do, but not all. Now I want to highlight something. Now, Pastor Pharaoh, you said soul and spirit over swag and style. And thank you, Pastor.
It's not.
No, this was Wayne Gaddis Jr.
It's not
He
what
said it's not what's on you, it's what's in you.
Mm-hmm.
I completely agree. Because that sentiment within itself is what it's about.
Okay.
See, I'm more concerned about the people coming and letting God do the changing. See, I learned,
But
even
some of the
as a-
stuff that y'all want to change isn't necessarily needs to be changed, because me
It's
wearing
no-
a hat
exactly.
is not a bad thing. You wear a hat outside. I get it. It's a respect thing. You know, people say, "Oh,
Right.
you take the hat off because you respect and you reverence," and I get it, right? I get all that. But what if I'm a first time visitor and I don't know none of that, right?
Right.
And how is me taking my hat off a sign of respect?
It's a part of a culture and a tradition that we was taught that really didn't come from anywhere, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, and you have to think about it. And this can be a whole topic of discussion in itself. A lot of things that we do is from a slave mentality.
Young folks come looking for an encounter with God.
And he's very right.
That is a very true statement.
He's very right. It's all about an encounter. When I walk into the house of God, I'm not looking to see what nobody else got on. I'm not looking to see, oh, if my bro there. I'm coming to get a word from God, and I'm coming to let the worship penetrate my heart, so that when the pastor gets up and teaches the word, that it may be some of substance.
So it can get to you.
So it can penetrate my heart.
Penetrate your heart. So if something needs to be changed,
Exactly.
it can be changed, and you're not worried about what
Exactly.
Tim, KK, Joseph, all
What's
them.
Tim and KK?
I'm just throwing
Oh
out
my
names, guys.
God.
Got on.
No, definitely.
Okay.
Now, should there be some order in the house of God? Absolutely. It should
Such
be
as-
order.
okay,
It should be
so
order anywhere.
such as what?
We're not gonna let someone just come in the house of God naked. But see, back in the days,
But what if I don't have nothing?
I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the days, what used to happen is
To the hospital.
Minister Water. I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the days, what used to happen is the old school mothers. They used to have little blankets, whatever you want to call them. What you call them?
Shawties call them
shawls and
or-
scarves, and when the women dresses was too short and all that stuff,
cover your
they would
legs.
cover. But see,
They still do in some churches.
They still do in some, but in many churches we don't have those women anymore.
So what happened to those women?
I mean, most of them probably passed away.
So did they? So they passed away, and they didn't teach.
Probably so. Probably so.
So that's a whole nother conversation.
Oh,
But,
it's definitely a whole nother conversation.
Back to
But-
tradition though. So what else is tradition that's deep in the church that has nothing to do with the Bible, that we ourselves have basically dead? That's basically
Right. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. When it comes to
implemented in the
tradition,
church.
right? When it comes to tradition, I'm gonna put my godmother on front real quick. She told me something that made a lot of sense. She said, many churches will not move forward until they stop fighting dead man battles. So I asked her, I said, well, I need you to elaborate on that. I said, I
man
need you
battles.
to elaborate on that. So she told me, she said, many churches, she said, we are still fighting to continue we are still fighting to do things that people who are now deceased once brought and instilled in someone that had no biblical backing to it. And so
None.
we're
At all.
fighting.
None.
We're fighting to hold on to these traditions, which most of them have no biblical substance to them, but because it sounded good to someone, but it's now hindering the ministry.
I'm gonna bust a lot of bubbles.
Now, I wanna emphasize something right here. Now, I remember I told you about this post that I saw on Facebook the other day, and I'm actually gonna put this on the screen so you all can see this. But I want you all to read this statement I saw with this post I saw on Facebook, and this guy posted this, and he posted this right here. He said, "Churching in the pandemic." He said, "This is going to step on some toes, but that's where real growth flourishes." He said, "God's word hasn't changed. It's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore." We hear that all the time. But the way it reaches his people has had to change throughout history. I agree with that completely. His word is alive, timeless, and suitable for any era. But the methods in bringing it to the masses are not. He says, are we stuck in tradition? Are we truly reaching the masses? Are we catering to what is familiar and appeasing to the status quo? We really can stop right there. But he
That's
said,
good, right? That right there is real
right.
good.
He said, just my opinion, but I think the one thing we learned or should have learned through this pandemic is that the pomp and circumstance days of church are gone. I think we should focus on feeding the masses with all of our available resources. And I could not agree with that
That's a
man.
whole mouthful right there.
I couldn't agree with that man anymore.
That's a mouthful.
Because a lot of times, like you said, the status quo, we get comfortable.
We do.
We get comfortable. Even as, you know, being a minister myself, I'm essentially a leader in the church. I feel like if you are a minister in any church, you are a leader in that ministry. You are not the pastor. Let's not get it twisted, but you are a leader, because believe it or not, there are people that will come to you because you're a minister and ask you for certain things. They'll ask you to pray for them. They'll call you during the week to express certain things and ask you to pray, you know, about certain circumstances.
You don't gotta have the title of,
no, you
being
don't
a minister.
You don't have to be.
All you have to be
title.
a minister.
But
Because I've had people
yeah, but I'm talking about, you know, leadership roles in ministry.
just leadership roles in general.
Right.
Okay.
So even, you know, just speaking about leadership roles, it's important that we do not get comfortable with what is comfortable.
Right.
We can't get comfortable with what is comfortable. And I'm gonna tell you, to me, I feel like if going to church every Sunday becomes easy, then you're doing something wrong.
You're doing something wrong. Church isn't comfortable, shouldn't be comfortable for nobody, not even the pastor.
No, not the pastor, not the board. Everyone should always be evaluating themselves, saying, how can I step away from what I'm comfortable and used to doing to actually doing something to progress either this church or to help somebody in this community? Because I'm going to tell you something.
Well, that's another conversation.
Oh, it's definitely a whole nother conversation. I'm going to tell you something. Many people out here in the streets are looking for a place to worship. Right. She said, shame from me. You know, I love you. I love you with all my heart. And so, like Dr. Lou used to say, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet. But I feel if the easiest way for you to fully see if your church is healthy, survey your church. Do an anonymous survey. Literally
Are we surveying with the people inside? Are we surveying with people inside and people outside?
Well, you can do it inside and out. Because even the people outside of the church, that's probably where you're going to get a complete, honest response.
For sure.
Because they see the church day in and day out. They see the church. And if your church is fully effective in the community, the things that you do, the people in that community will respond to.
For sure.
You know, it's crazy.
Shout out.
I want to say it was
to the district by GS.
Right.
They on here having a whole conversation.
I want to say it was Minister Wayne Jr. We were having a conversation. We met at Rick's church, and we was talking about the community. And he was saying the community should never want to see anything happen to this church because it's been directly impacted by this ministry.
Okay.
So that question arises. If today the church that you worship at burned down, how many people in this community would care?
Ooh. Because some people in the community don't even know the church exists.
No, seriously. But there's a lot of people that live in certain communities by certain, churches that just aren't really fully being missionaries, if you subscribe to that, but aren't fully doing community outreach. And if anything happens to this, every church should.
Every church should be doing some type of community missionary work.
Right.
And that ain't got to be your name, but my opinion, you should be, because if you're not, why are you there? What you doing?
Definitely.
You are not there to feed just the people that's in the house.
No.
That's under your leadership.
And see, that's the thing. A lot of people don't know that we come to church so that we may be refueled to go out and help someone.
Absolutely.
I mean,
to be fruitful.
Yeah,
and multiply.
Definitely. I mean, each one reach one.
Each one reach one.
We
Absolutely.
come to be taught so that we may be vessels, to be fishers of men. We have to go out and teach and proclaim the gospel. I mean, even in our lives, we are to be walking the gospel.
Absolutely.
I'm not saying you need to dress up like a nun.
Hide
That's
in
not
your
what
heart.
I'm saying. Because somebody gonna say, he want me to be a walking Bible. That's not what I'm saying. But somebody should know you by your fruits.
Do it your way.
Somebody
it your way.
Somebody should know you by your fruits.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you how many times I've been in a place and somebody told me, "Man, I know you are a man of God." You know what that did to me?
Your demeanor.
But you
your
know what?
actions.
And that's the thing. I don't walk around in a suit, 3-piece suit with a tie and do all that stuff. I'm myself.
If the community doesn't miss that church, if it burns down, then that church wasn't doing the ministry. Absolutely right.
He's absolutely correct. But so many people miss that point. They feel
Missionary
like
doesn't have to be a name of the church, but it should be the nature of the. Yep, absolutely.
Definitely the nature of the action. The church in itself should be the feet of Jesus Christ.
Ooh, say that again.
The church itself should be the feet of Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. There are millions, probably billions of people out here that needs to be reached. And we are so stuck, in tradition
Very much so.
that it's keeping us from reaching those, because everybody is going to have an account to God, right?
Definitely.
And so
that's what the word says.
We need to go out here because there's people out here that are waiting for us to come and talk to them. I've been to churches, right?
Okay.
I ain't gonna name no name, but I've been to churches and I know people that's around the church, and the people be like, "Oh, nobody's ever said anything to us about the church. Nobody's ever came and gave us a flyer, came and gave us a handshake. We didn't even know. We thought we wasn't invited to the church."
Mm. Oh wow, that's crazy.
So could it be that the tradition in the church is keeping us from going outside the church to reach those people? Because we are so focused on, and I'm sorry to say this because you're going to go back to this, but we are so focused on us.
Oh yeah, we have to get out of that.
And we have to get out of that because a lot of us doesn't live in our community of where we go to church at.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not like it used to be.
No, not
now
like
it's a different dynamic. And some of those people will come to your church or to churches if they just get invited. If they just get a welcome card. If they just get a knock on the door.
Right.
If they just walk by the church and somebody say, "Hey, how you doing?"
Right.
They will probably come back. Even if they don't stay, but they want to see what's going on because somebody was nice to them.
Right. And you can definitely, just by having those visitors in that community come to your church, you can definitely plant a seed. And they may not stay then. They may leave and venture off and go somewhere, but they may come back because of that seed that was planted.
That seed that was planted.
But you can never come back to a place you've never been.
Or that I feel like I'm not invited to.
Definitely.
And that's why a lot of young people are not going to church because they feel like they're not invited.
Well,
or they feel like when they come to church, they're being bashed and beat up on.
Well, I'm going to tell you what's crazy. When it comes to this current generation, and I want you all to really tap in on this part right here. When it comes to this generation, most millennials, before they visit a church, they will look at your church live stream or visit your website. And a survey was done.
Absolutely.
They said they will definitely most people will, in this current generation, they will go on your church's website, watch you on Facebook, YouTube, because they want to see what your church is about.
That's a true statement because I want to visit multiple churches because of what I've seen online.
In the pandemic.
Very
much so. I've talked to several people that I work with, different colleagues. They have looked at churches, different broadcast ministries. What are they doing? Is this something I can see myself being a part of? Is your church too much of a family to where you feel like if you're not a part of this circle, we really don't want you here? Because there's a lot of churches like that too. I understand the dynamics of having a family church, but sometimes the people in that family, and we don't want to talk about it, you got some snobby people in church.
Absolutely. Turnoffs.
That's why
turnaways.
Very much so. Who is she?
Uninviting.
Right. And we can't be like that Because I'm gonna tell you something. In a lot of
It
our
ain't your
churches,
church. It ain't your building. It ain't yours. It's everybody's.
right? Let me say something. In a lot of churches, the family dynamics have passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And understand what I say about that. I'm not saying the spirit of the unity behind the family. I'm saying the family church of I attend here, my wife goes here, my mother goes here, my father goes here, my aunt, my uncle, my great aunt.
No, now
great,
we scatter all over the place. We
Now-
all go to different. We all go to different locations
Most families now do not attend church in the same building.
because they don't have the same. They don't have the. They don't agree on what's going on in the church.
Or people don't live in the same states.
That could be so too.
There's a lot of what we used to
But
know.
I'm talking about the people that live.
Oh yeah, live in that community. They
Live.
just don't subscribe to the beliefs of that house of
Or it
worship.
could be just that church is messy. I'm just gonna put it out there. That church just messy, and I ain't going in there because I ain't dealing with the mess that's up in there.
That's that too. But see, we have to get out of our mindset of this is how it's used. This is how we used to do
This
it.
how we used to do it. So
I
this
feel
is
like
right.
that-
'Cause
that-
that ain't true.
That is a statement that will destroy.
Because I'm coming up in your church with a hat on and
That-
some ripped jeans. For sure.
But see, this is my thing. I feel
Yes, I do it at my own church. Just so everybody want to ask. Yes, I've been to my church with a hat, tennis shoes.
But see, it's not even about singling out just people wearing
No,
hats.
no, I'm just saying.
Yeah, hats or
since
beanies
that's
or
the
ripped
littlest
jeans
thing.
and tennis shoes. I feel like just period. The focal point is get to the house.
For sure, and let God do the changing.
Right.
Because it will change you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. God may not ever convict this individual that they need to change that.
Most churches have. Go ahead, read out loud.
What did she say? She said, "You read it. Your vision a little better than mine."
Most people have an unofficial. What? What did it say?
It says appointed. I think it's a
Appointed-
typo.
Appointed run people away community family church are not
Committees.
committees family church are not.
Essentially, what she's saying is, in many churches, there's unofficial committees of people that just their job is just to run people away. That's what I got from this statement.
Ooh.
And that can be very, very true. I can't tell you how many times I have a friend of mine that's invited me to a church, and I've went, and I said I'll never go back. And I'm going to tell you why I said I never go back. The greeting. From the greeting at the door, it was completely off.
Your greeters are your first
First line of defense. And you can't be snazzy at the door.
Ooh. You know what I tell people? I tell people the churches that I assist or that I consult for, I tell people from the parking lot.
You right. I'm gonna tell you, I'm glad you said that. I have seen that's one of the things that I actually went to my pastor and talked to him about implementing is that, we need a greeter
On the parking lot.
on the parking lot.
And watch this. Some churches driving in,
Oh yeah, they have welcome signs.
they have
and
welcome signs.
It's very welcoming. It
and
makes you
they
want
have
to be
people
a part of
they
this.
have people helping you park your car so that other people can get in.
Yeah.
So that you don't scratch other people. It's just all kind of things that you can do on the park. I've worked the parking lot to being an armor bearer to being a personal assistant. So I've cleaned bathrooms.
The key element in it all is that when we attend a church, we should be focusing on servantship.
Absolutely. Getting the people in the door.
How can we serve you? I mean, that was the ministry of Jesus Christ was servantship.
What if you get me in the door and I don't like the word, or I don't like the.
I mean,
consistent.
to be honest, we can't. To be honest, you can't please everybody.
Okay.
You're not trying.
What
to.
if you're not pleasing nobody?
I mean, if nobody is satisfied, then I think you should do some restructuring.
What if somebody has said that, but the person is still in position.
I mean, if the conversation is had about restructuring and the leader is still not taking heed, then I feel like there will be a fall in that ministry. I mean,
especially in the pandemic.
Oh, definitely. If we're not doing things to build it up, if you're not doing in that's just with life, period. Whatever you do, if what you're doing is not causing yourself to grow, then it's being torn down. That's just like even with our bodies. If we don't take care of our bodies, what is it? He said your
service reflects your salvation.
Very, very true.
Ooh, that's good. That's a post. That's a tweet.
It is. So, Pastor Farrell, if you got a Twitter, you should tweet that.
That's a tweet.
But he said your service reflects your salvation. And I'm gonna tell you something. I heard an old saying, not an old saying, but an old sermon by Bishop G. Patterson, and he set the record straight. He said everybody in church ain't going to heaven.
Ooh.
He said a lot of people gonna bust hell wide open.
Even the pastors.
And it's not gonna be because of what you have on, but because of how your heart is. Your heart is in the wrong place.
You can be dressed in your jeans and your hat and have the purest heart, or you can be dressed in your suit and tie and have the meanest heart, spirit, evil.
Oh my God! Did she not come through with this? So Tamara said another reason younger people don't go to their family church is because they want a different experience of God than the one they had growing up.
Shots fired.
This whole podcast episode is over. She really just summed it up.
Yeah, for sure.
That is
absolutely
the ultimate truth. A lot of let me tell you something. A lot of people that I know that I grew up with and went to church with, we don't go to church together anymore.
I know
they still seeking ministries and still go. But I've asked them why, and their sentiments to me is it's the same old 3-6-9.
They still stuck in back then and haven't moved forward.
That is the uttermost truth. I just read that whole statement again. That is very, very true. The reason why younger people don't attend their family church is they want a different experience with God than they had growing up. That's very, very true. And I'm gonna tell you what makes it worse is that a lot of times growing up, and I'm speaking my opinion from individuals I've talked to and their experiences. They told me a lot of people that used to chastise them growing up about the things that they did were doing worse things than them at the time. So they lost a lot of respect for the people.
It happens that way.
No, because seriously, you can't tell me, you can't tell me, why you coming in here with this jacket with this hood on inside the church? But then you just finished beating your wife this morning.
Ooh. Or on the parking lot smoking a cigarette.
Or
you smell like alcohol all up in my face. Or I know you for your works and you was trying to get at little Chi-Chi over there and little Chi-Chi done told the whole church that you was trying to talk to her.
But this happens. But see, a part of the reason why that happened because
we grew up church.
But see, those generations, you just kind of do what I said, not as I do. And that's another thing in the generation and black community
that we got to step away from.
We got to be better examples. We do
because it's not you do as I say, and it ain't that because sometimes what you say ain't right.
But see,
a lot of times what you say.
But see, that's
right.
the thing. We've been conditioned, and there's a whole lot of traditions that we can go to, like even communion. Man, a lot of people don't know the wearing of the gloves. That's a slavery thing.
What, you telling me I can't touch the table?
Man,
can I touch the table?
It's not even about the table. It's not even about the table. It's the gloves. Many people don't even know. But see, we've been taught and conditioned that these things are biblical.
Well, I'm singing these songs,
and they are not. Wearing gloves.
Not saying you shouldn't sing some of the songs. Some of the songs they cross mama and grandma and great grandma over, right?
Right.
But the millennials don't know what those songs mean.
But see, it's not even that they don't know what it means, because
A lot of them research the songs and they know that they were slavery songs.
where they know the origin to these
slavery.
songs, and it's just crazy.
Wade in the water.
Right, that's crazy.
What we wading in the water?
Well, first of all, Wade in the Water is a slavery song.
Oh, what we waiting though? What does it mean?
You submerge yourself in the water, so when the dogs and stuff come, they'll just pass you by. You wading in the water.
Ooh,
But see, when you know better,
I ain't running from no dogs.
When you know better, you do better.
You do.
And I feel like this may be my mission for the rest of my life, just to inspire people to seek the truth. When we study the Word of God, let's study it.
I think the message of freedom is Christ. You ain't got to think. You absolutely. You coming through tonight.
And then Tamara she know I'm a caller.
Absolutely. The message of freedom is Christ. Yes, right. That's it. Just simple. You ain't have to write nothing else. That's it. You preach tonight. The sermon was you. You was a sermon.
But we have to seriously step away from these traditions that are really tearing down our ministries and our churches.
But it's turned into a movement. People clinging to messages that God's love rather than trying to not go to hell.
Very much
so. Deep. You in here tonight.
Oh yeah, she in here. She bringing that good anointed comment section.
Fire.
But nah, seriously, I mean, tonight it just really opened my eyes just a lot of things that I've kind of been privy to, being, brought out of this darkness, actually studying the Word of God, seeking the truth behind a lot of things that I do, and not just doing it just because somebody told me to do it.
Absolutely.
I feel like once we get
you can study the same Bible your pastor studied.
But see, a lot of people don't study. A lot of people read, and it's a difference.
There is a difference.
There's a difference. See, once you study for comprehension,
and not because your pastor told you to go study that. We reading this book today, or not just listening to it on Sunday morning when you get up to read the scripture.
I mean, but you got to think about it, and it's not an attack on anybody, but most Christians, quote unquote, don't read the Bible.
They don't. I agree.
What they know is only what they hear on Sunday morning if they go to church. But how many people are taking the other 6 days throughout the week and actually saying, you know what, God, guide my heart to what you want me to understand in this book today.
And read it and get yourself a study Bible.
And let me tell you something. Don't be afraid to get away from the King James version of the Bible, because you read these and thous and those, and you don't understand what's going on. It's not really doing you any type of service at all. None.
And we ain't saying it ain't what it's supposed to be, but
no, it's biblical. But if you can't comprehend what you're reading because it's old English, that's why God gives people the knowledge to be able to write things so we can understand them.
Absolutely. And all things get a understanding.
And all that I get an understanding.
God bless you.
Thanks. I need all them blessings. But seriously, I really thank everyone for being a part of this conversation tonight. When I tell you, every week,
get study tools.
Every week, I really want to go like deeper and have these real, we
gotta go deep, but time go by so fast when you start talking.
I know, right? But now these conversations are imperative, because I feel like the only way we can get to, a healthy church, you have to have those hard conversations. You have to talk about the things that nobody want to talk about.
The Message Bible is great also. Absolutely.
Definitely. But you have to talk about those things that people don't want to talk about. Like, I'm going to tell you, growing up, I don't think I've ever heard preaching about sex.
It's a taboo.
In the church. It was like taboo. Now, maybe I just missed that Sunday, and I'm not putting anybody on the spot, but you just, in a many of churches, I feel like there's a lot of conversations that just aren't had.
Ignorant Christian. Oof.
A lot of things just aren't discussed that need to be discussed. We can't leave certain things up
To the world to
the
teach.
world to teach our children and to even inform us about.
Because if you don't teach them, they gonna find out.
Oh yeah, they will find out. Like even this whole Kurt Franklin cursing. Oh, that's a whole. We ain't even gonna go there tonight.
Please don't.
We're
Please.
not gonna go there
Because
tonight.
you cursed the other day. Not you. You cursed the other day, or you cursed today, and so we ain't even gonna go there.
I mean, people.
I cussed today. I for sure cussed today.
Jesus, help him. Y'all pray for Keith in the comment section,
Pray for me.
please, because he need help. But no, seriously, I want to wrap this up tonight. I thank everyone for this conversation. This was very informative. People said some things in the comment section that really opened up my eyes and really brought a lot of truth.
For sure.
You know, but this is what needs to be had. These conversations, that's why this podcast exists. It's a platform so that me, you, Shannon, whoever want to be on here, and that's another thing. If you want to be on this podcast, I tell people all the time, if you want to be on there, bring me a topic.
Mm-hmm.
Simple.
Let's go.
If you want to be on this podcast, I don't have a problem with anybody being on this podcast. Bring me a topic.
What word you use for? What word did I use? I cursed the other day.
Well, she's a new mommy, so it's a whole. She got a whole lot going on right now with a new mommy, just little beautiful baby. But seriously though, these conversations are informative. I feel like it's the necessary growth that we need to tackle hard conversations. And I want to talk about everything: sex, money, racism in the church. Is there a true such thing as a black church and a white church? Should we be able to worship all together? I mean, all these conversations I feel like are taboo, and when they're had, people are like, "Oh, you can't say that and this and that." But that's the conversation that needs to be had.
Absolutely.
Because in order for you to get to the truth, you're gonna have to walk through the dark sometimes
For sure.
to get to the light.
God bless you.
You do. Well, that's my grandmother. But no, so thank you all for joining this conversation,
Hi,
this
everybody.
podcast tonight. Please share this podcast. If you are on YouTube, please like, follow, subscribe, share, do all them good things. If you want to donate to this platform,
Because he coming up, y'all. I'm telling you, I wish y'all could be here to see this come up.
God, if you want to donate to this platform,
He trying hard, y'all. He doing his thing for sure.
the information is on the screen tonight. If you want to donate to this platform, Cash App, DThomas90, and it's all going back into this platform, building up, buying equipment, doing what's necessary. Eventually, I don't know where God is going to take it. God may take this to a studio space of his own, and who knows?
We can travel.
We could travel.
Okay.
It can be a whole lot. But the key is to get started.
For sure.
And we definitely got started. I'm on the road. Like I said, if you want to be on this podcast, hit me up in the comment section, in the DMs, however you can get in touch with me. Reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to bring you on here and have these hard conversations.
One more time, we need to do what?
You said, since
we
you
need to
like saying
like,
it.
comment, subscribe, right? Donate. What we donating to?
Cash App, man. DThomas90.
All right. Y'all
All right,
heard that.
y'all.
Good night, y'all.